Hey, happy Monday, everybody. Happy Monday. Happy Monday. I'm going to take off this little thing here. Hey, happy Monday. Hope you're all doing very, very well. Man, I've got so much on my mind and so much to talk about that I just can't wait to dive into it today. Thanks for holding by if you've been waiting at 10 after. A little late, but you know what it is. It's a Monday and things are exciting. Things are great. Monday is not the beginning of the week. Monday is like the end of the week for an entrepreneur. It's like the wrap up. Let's get ready for another whole week of work. And so I'm really excited to just jump on in. One of my computers is not working right now, so I get to have zero distractions, which is even more exciting. But today I wanted to talk about a few things. And before we get started, as you jump on, I want to give away a few things. And in that regard, I need to know who's listening and who's watching. So if you're watching, just give me a hello, hey, what's up? Or John, you're the man, or compliment my gray shirt. I wore a gray polo today in preparation to hopefully go golfing. That's my plan. That's my hope. And one of my computers just turned on. But because I hope that, I just realized something, that I don't actually look that flattering in gray. I love gray. For some reason, gray and black and like solids are like my favorite colors. But I personally don't look that great in gray. In fact, gray actually makes me look a little bit more, I don't know, let's call it dense, but maybe monotone. There you go. There's a good word for you, monotone. But as a result of all that, I wanted to share with you guys a few things. And if you read the description of the post today, I made a few predictions at the beginning of this quarantine, the beginning of the stay-at-home orders, and with the government announcements. I made a few predictions, and I'm 100% correct. And it's crazy because, like, you never want to be right. You never want to necessarily call it out, but you just sometimes got to put the facts in front of you. And the way my one of my good friends says, the facts will set you free. I think that my facts were the ones that I predicted would actually turn out. So here's one of the things that I predicted for businesses and business owners, right? As a result of the quarantine, there was social distancing was in place. And by the way, whoever gave our government permission to call it or give it a name like social distancing, man, the fact that we let them do anything or say anything is ridiculous, because that's not what social distance, it doesn't even, like, it's not even defined as like social distancing, right? Social distancing is like, I'm going to stay away from you. Let's stay away, like no contact, whatever. And that's impossible for humans, right? Absolutely impossible. What we should have called it was physical distancing. But I'll get into that in a minute, because we're actually going to be transitioning out of social distancing and into physical distancing. Now, this is kind of exciting and kind of interesting, because here's what I predicted. I said that as a result of all this, Utahns especially, but humans are going to have a really hard time taking this seriously. It's going to take a few weeks. It's going to take quite a few people to die and quite a few reports for people to actually let it sink in. The more that people died, the more it was tied to them personally. They have a friend. I mean, everyone is connected to someone who has Alzheimer's. Everyone is connected to somebody who has cancer, some sort of cancer, right? Somebody in your network, whether it's your brother, your sister, or your distant cousin, or your friend of a friend of a friend, we're all connected somehow. And I'm actually saddened by this news, but I'll get into that in a minute. To finish this thought is, we are all connected to it. And eventually we're all going to be connected physically and emotionally to coronavirus or COVID-19. And because of that, we've had to learn a few things. The human trajectory went from, all right, a lot of governments are saying, stay home, quarantine yourself, and only leave for necessary things. And because of that thing, people freaked out. So what did everyone do when they said stay home? Everybody went to the store. Everyone flooded the grocery stores. And what did they pick up? The essentials, toilet paper, soap, and Germex, right? Hand sanitizer, and maybe a few other things. I also saw that canned foods had gone after the toilet paper, of course, because that was a necessity, right? There were a lot of things that just went missing. And then after all of that, people started to quarantine themselves, but people could not stay indoors. Okay. People just cannot stay inside. It's not human nature. So what did we do? We relaxed on the law a little bit. We made it available so that local businesses could deliver or cook and be open to open kitchens, and then they would deliver or bring it out to you, and you would do, online pay or over the phone pay and stuff like that. So we saw that transition, right? And then all of a sudden, what happened is that we saw people get out and kind of adjust, right? They kind of adjusted to, I can still get my normal things, but I just can't eat it inside their restaurant, or I just can't eat it there, or, I just can't do certain things normally. We saw grocery stores say keep a 6-foot distance from each other like they were supposed to, and blah, 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 blah. Okay, where I'm getting at with all this is recently, we've gone 3 or 4 weeks of doing this, and the government says, hey, in some of governments, right? If you're watching this from another state, your government might be different. So just be aware of that, right? In Utah, they said, okay, no longer can it be groups of 10 that congregate, but it's got to be less than groups of 20. And I don't know where that in everyone's mind says, let's all go out, everybody out on the streets. But that's what happened. The bars were full. The bars that were open, at least. Okay. I'm living in Heber City. It's right along Highway 40. Okay. And, we have a steakhouse on the Highway 40 that's open. And it's been open. They've been doing takeout and stuff, but Friday, the day that restaurants were allowed to open, that was a full parking lot. They took out all of their pending and waiting lines for vehicles, and they were full. So I don't know how on earth they were okay with accepting. There were more than 20 cars in that parking lot, by the way. So an average of one person eating by themselves? No, I don't think so. I think 2 people were eating together and their tables are stacked, right? And so my curiosity was, where does it mean that no more than groups of 20, all of a sudden we can all go out to the restaurants and live life the normal way again, right? It just doesn't make sense. But it wasn't just that one restaurant. I drove down the boulevard and look what I saw. The other bar in town, absolutely packed. 10, 15 cars outside in front. And it's just like lined up on the street. Okay. So my prediction is that as soon as they ease up coming May 1st, people are going to try to go back to normal because they just can't stand it. And they're just going to cause another, and here's my prediction again, hopefully not coming true, but here's the facts, another spike in COVID-19. So all of that to wrap it up is I was absolutely 100% correct. I knew that when people would lighten up, or when the government would lighten up a little bit, everyone would freak out and everyone would hit it. The trails this weekend absolutely bogged down. Like I've never seen the trails more crowded. The roads more crowded. The restaurants more crowded. Like this weekend was absolute chaos. So just calling it out in the way I see it. But if you're seeing it differently, let me know. Especially if you're in a different state. I want to know what's going on in your states. But hey, we're almost 10 minutes into this and I haven't heard a comment from anybody. Let me know you're here. Say hello. I'd love to interact with you because today's topics, we're going to be talking about how your Monday mindset needs to be focused on sales. Okay. You need to have a sales productive mindset today. I'm going to be covering the topic of transitioning from social distancing to physical distancing. Now that we have a social distancing lifted ban of 10 people or less in groups, now it's 20 people or less. Okay. And I want to get into that. But the reason why we let the government decide what we were going to call this is ridiculously stupid. Okay. It's not social distancing. In fact, we're not distancing ourselves at all socially. We're distancing ourselves physically. So before I get into the topic, one last thing. I'm so behind on my emails, you guys. And I read an email last night that just broke my heart. Absolutely broke my heart. And, it's unfortunate because there was more that I could do earlier in the month. But, there's nothing you can do now. But I wanted to take a moment of silence and a shout out to one of my friends who passed away, not from COVID-19, not from coronavirus, but due to a brain tumor. This gentleman and this individual showed up at one of my masterminds last year. In fact, he showed up in February or March. And he told me that he was building a networking executive golf league. And in this golf league, you were going to be paired up with a new foursome every week. And for 20 weeks straight, we were going to golf different courses in Utah. And you were going to be able to network doing what you love, chatting with people who love it as well, and building relationships. And so I obviously signed up. I am not the greatest golfer. If you're listening to this and you are not a good golfer, give me your best "I'm not a good golfer" emoji, please. I need to know. And anyways, as he approached me and said, "Hey, we've got this golf league," I was like, "I'm in." And by the way, can we promote this in our group? So I actually pulled him up onto my stage right then and there. The moment I met him, I brought him up on stage and I said, "Hey, tell us about your golf league." And 5 people in our mastermind signed up for his golf league that day, raising their sales by at least 5%. And that was the power of networking. It was, oh my gosh, these guys get it. They get that networking and social interactions isn't just about business cards. It's about getting out there, having fun, being vulnerable, and having a good time with other people. And I joined this league. My friend Matt Fritchie, he joined the league, and a few other of our members of our Profit Mastermind had also joined the league. And it was phenomenal. It was so exciting. I loved it. Every morning I get up, I drive down the mountain, and I'd go to one of these golf courses, and I'd meet up with the new foursome, and we would just have a ball every morning. And I built relationships, you guys. And I'm so sad to report that this person passed away of a brain tumor just last month. And I'm just now reading that email, and wow, did it break my heart. Wow, did it hurt, because this individual lived for social connection. This person lived for social interaction and uniting people through what they love. And what people love is activity. It's fun. It's sunshine. It's fresh air. It's getting out. And I just wanted to take, before I get too emotional, a moment of silence for my good friend, Scott Crowley. Scott, I miss you. I love you. And I'm grateful. I'm grateful for you and what you did to unite the people in Utah and to build relationships. And in your honor, I'll continue to join that league and to promote it and to be a part of it. But I'm going to take a moment of silence here on the air. And for those of you jumping in during our moment of silence, just know that this is going to be a 30-second pause. So everyone, please take a moment of silence, 30 seconds for my good friend, and honor the name of Scott Crowley. Thank you, everyone. For those of you watching and those of you going to watch the replay, that was a moment of silence for my friend and an incredible man who left a family behind, Scott Crowley, co-founder of the 4 Business Golf League. And for those of you looking for information about this golf league, they're going to be going again this year. If you want any information on that, please email me. I'll be a part of it, as well as there will be a few other golf leagues, one through TJ Men Love and a few other of my good friends who will be going this year. And if you are in need of connecting with people and doing so in one of the greatest environments of all time, social executive networking golf is one of the best ways to do it. So thank you for indulging me on that moment. With a full heart, I want to give the information of this podcast today, or this show, this live hour, with you with my best intentions. So again, I wanted to talk about the mindset, okay, of sales and transitioning from social distancing to physical distancing. Okay, again, we should not call it social distancing, because social distancing is the last thing we ought to do. Now, you introverts, I know that this is probably not your most favorite topic, but let's go into a deep dive about this, because it's not about social distancing. It's about physical distancing. To keep yourself safe, be safe physically, right? 6 feet apart. Make sure you're wearing a mask. Make sure that you are not touching things, making sure you're washing surfaces, making sure that you're being aware of everything you're doing. That's important, right? That's super important. So as we transition into a summer, right? If the weather gets warmer and people are attracted to the outside and the outdoors, we're gonna want to be around more people, because we enjoy the outdoors with other people. I could not imagine hiking by myself all the time. I want to be with people where I can marvel in the glorified beauty of the outdoors and nature, right? And I love to just shout out facts and hang out and be social and yada, yada, yada. This is important to me. It's important to everybody. Social distancing is not the description of what it needs. So we need to stop. We need to take that out of our brains, take it out of our head that we're social distancing. There's nothing social about the distancing that we need to. Okay. I was standing in line at the grocery store the other day, and this man stood behind us with a healthy distance, and we were talking about how one of the products that we had bought, it was so expensive for such a little amount. And he goes, and the guy behind us goes, "Yeah, I know, this beef jerky is the same way." And he points at one of the beef jerkies in the line while you wait. And I said, "Oh man, yeah, like it looks so delicious, but what's up? Like, why do they give us so little portions?" And he's like, and he went on to tell us about, that's why I don't buy beef jerky. I make it myself. And I was curious. I was like, so do you shoot it off your property, or do you go out into the woods and kill it? And I was more so quizzing, because I've actually heard people say, "No, I get it from roadkill," out in Arkansas, right? But the basis of this all was he and I had a great conversation. He told me about how he would sit on his back porch and shoot elk as they passed through his yard on his property, and he was able to sustain him and his family for food year round. And I said, "Wow, that's amazing. That's really cool to know. I'm glad to hear it." And we had a good conversation. I just said, "Well, just avoid the expensive scams out there and have a great day." And he laughed, and we had a good time. And I was like, man, do I miss that interaction? Man, do I miss that social connection with strangers? Man, do I just love when people can agree on things and you have that interaction. It just got me thinking. And I know for a lot of people, they don't work that way. So I'm sorry if you can't relate to that, but human interaction, especially with friendly, kind people, is addictive. It's amazing. It's beautiful. If you agree, give me a shout out in the comment section. Okay. But man, it was awesome. And then I thought to myself, man, I wish we could do this more. I'm just so hungry for human interaction. I realized something, that in my mind, social distancing, I had told myself that I can't talk to anyone. That's what I said. I said, I can't talk to anybody because of social distancing. Get that out of our heads, guys. It's not social distancing. It's a physical, safe distance. All right, these words, these phrases, they're ruining us. They're creating this block in our brains that we can and can't do things. And if you're like me, when someone tells you you can or can't do something, what do? You go and do exactly what they told you that you can or can't do, right? Because we're human. So I wanted to bring this up because a lot of us are stuck on something, and it's that we need to be socially apart. And the truth is so far from that. In fact, we need to be socially connected more than ever. And a lot of you are. Last night, we jumped on what's called Jackbox TV or Quiplash, I think. We use Steam, the app Steam, to download games. And as a result of it all, we, as a family, jumped on a Zoom call, streamed this. And maybe there's an easier way to do this, but we streamed it, and we were all playing. We were all connected from Utah to Colorado, from all over the world. We were connected as a family playing fun games on our phones. together and laughing and having a good time. We were so connected at that moment. I'd never done that. And this is coming from a family who's never done a Zoom call ever together, ever. We've always done in-person stuff. So that was a really unique experience for me. And just all of this compounding, all of this combined, I realized that we are not in social distancing, but we are in physical safety distancing. And you need to kind of train your brain to replace that, okay? And quarantine is quarantine. But quarantine is all about safety. It's not about just locking yourself in your house and being unhealthy. Quarantine is getting in the right place, being in the right clothes, health, wealth. It's everything. It's getting everything in control. Okay. A lot of people think quarantine is jail. It's incarceration to them. And it is for some. But look, you've got to understand the difference and what we're actually talking about. These words that we use, though they're in English and they're a bit harsh and they don't mean exactly what they mean, we need to be careful about what we process and how we perceive. Because apparently the majority of Utahns who went out on Friday night thought that quarantine and social distancing meant incarceration and zero contact with humans and the normal activities that they used to do. And then the second the ban was lifted just slightly, they felt like they had freedom. And unfortunately, my prediction is that we're going to have another spike in deaths and cases in the next 3 weeks. And because of that, we're going to be on another lockdown. There's going to be even stricter. Some states are saying if you leave your house without a mask, you will be fined. Okay. And some businesses are even saying no mask, no service, right? And it's fascinating to me that that's the culture we live in right now. Will it change? It will eventually. Are we going to be okay? Most of us, because it's just kind of like a flu. But even I've been affected by it, you guys. I've had a family member pass away from COVID-19 in the last month. So this is fresh. This is real. So I don't mean to make this about COVID. I know you're sick and tired of hearing about it and talking about it, which is why we all stormed the bars and restaurants on Friday, right? Right? Yeah, it's fascinating. So taking all this, you guys, your mindset needs to change to building relationships. It occurred to me, and I had this epiphany, that all I need to do to improve my business during this time is to help people. Okay. And then the more people I can help, the better relationship I can create. And the better your relationships are, the more prosperity you will experience in your life. Flat out. No question. You will receive prosperity in your life the more you serve other people. We've been talking about launching a couple things. The first one is a book club. We're actually waiting on a couple coordinations between our friends and partners to learn a little bit more about the timeline, the structure. But one of the books that I've been reviewing and been really excited to dive into is this book right here, Think and Grow Rich, right here on my left shoulder. And as I dive deeper into it, you know, there's a story I didn't know about Napoleon Hill and how Napoleon Hill became a young journalist or a young writer when he had the opportunity to get an interview with Dale Carnegie or the Carnegie Corporation. And at the time, Carnegies were some of the most wealthiest people in the world, right? And at this time, and I'm totally just like destroying the actual truth of the story. So this is just context that I received. I'm still studying it a little more so I can provide you better context. But the gist of this story is, you guys, is that Carnegie looked at Napoleon Hill and said, I'm going to offer this to you in just a minute. In just 1 minute, you have the option of saying yes or no. Will you work for me for a lifetime for free? Will you work for me for a lifetime for free? And in trade, I will introduce you to the most wealthiest and most successful people in the world whom you can interview and whom you can chat with, but you will serve me and me only. And within 30 seconds, guess who said yes? Napoleon Hill. Within 30 seconds, didn't even give him a whole minute to answer. He said absolutely, because he knew the leverage. He knew the opportunity. He knew the application. He knew the sacrifice. But he knew, you guys, that creating a relationship was far more important than saying, "Oh, well, I can't work for free. I've got to pay my bills, and I've got to take care of my wife and kids, and I've got to do this or that, but I still have dreams of being successful, and I want to be amazing, but I don't necessarily have the time or the resources, and I'm going to create excuses for the rest of my life because I am who I am, and you can't take that away from me." Well, no, it didn't take him more than 30 seconds to say yes, sign a contract, and sign his life of service to the Carnegie family. So there's context behind that story. I did not know that until last week. And I'll dive deeper into those stories because those stories are amazing. By the way, Man Crush Monday, shout out to my bro and my man. Man Crush Monday is always a big shout out to George Washington, the one and only. And I will get into stories about him later throughout the show, throughout this time. But anyways, as I was getting into this, I just wanted to share with you guys some of my thoughts on the creation of friendships. I mentioned to you, and we had a moment of silence here on the air just a few minutes ago from my good friend Scott Crowley. And I've only known Scott for a year. It was a year ago. He wandered into one of my masterminds. Within minutes of knowing what he did, I gave him the stage. He took 5 of us, including me and partners and members, with us to his golf league. And we built a friendship. And I felt like I had a brother. I felt like I had a guy who was always smiling, waiting for me at the putting green when I'd arrive at the golf courses, happy to chat, happy to connect with me, happy to ask me questions, happy to learn about what I'm going through and what's going on in my life. And business came second, but business came so naturally. And we found so many great collaborations and so many awesome opportunities to build relationships together. So with all of that, you guys, it's not social distancing. It's physical safety distancing. Okay. Get it straight. It's safety. So be safe, but don't neglect your social connections. Don't neglect your capabilities of thinking and growing rich. Don't neglect the natural binding, innate sensibility that humans have to connect with one another. Now, isn't that amazing? That no matter how much time we spend in solitude is the right word. How much time we spend doing, I call it me time, right? Me time. No matter how much time we spend doing any of those lonesome activities, we yearn for human connection. In fact, why do we even learn to speak? Use our tongues, right? To use our eyes and to use our hands and our touch. Use some of the body's major senses to taste, right? Why would we ever be gifted those if it weren't for the opportunity to be socially connected, to be connected to other people? So I've seen 0 comments coming through. So I'm assuming you guys are all just watching while working, and that's great. Happy Monday. I hope this message has been powerful to you. But transition your mindset from social distancing to physical safety distancing. Okay, I think I've hit that on the head enough. I also wanted to talk a little bit about sales today, and I just finished the book. So here's a funny story. I just read the book, Who Moved My Cheese? Okay. And for those of you who have read Who Moved My Cheese, you know it's about two little people in a maze and two little mice. Mice. And the mice end up finding their way to the cheese that's been moved, and they just think nothing of it but search and find. They never freak out. But the humans, Hem and Haw, they have a hard time. Hem doesn't actually adjust, and Haw eventually adjusts and finds the new cheese and wonders about his friend and why he was unable to change faster, because he was starving, right? And I didn't get it at first, which probably made me feel like I was probably Hem or I was Ha. And so I read it a second time. And then I listened to it a third time to just really ingrain it. So I spent 3 weeks on the same book, reading it 3 times, and I finally got it. And it was amazing to me. It was amazing. I loved Who Moved My Cheese because it gave me perspective to recognize how willing I am to accept change and how willing I am to change with it. Okay. A lot of times I say the phrase, and I call my hair. Okay. So follow along, because you've heard me say this, and I want you to get this out of your head too, if you've ingrained it as well. But I've often said the words challenge everything, which means don't just say yes, ask a question. Ask a follow-up, learn a little bit more about it, dig deeper, okay? And because of that challenge everything mentality, I've also equated that over to don't trust everything. And that's not right. Now, I don't say that out loud. It's not in my brain. It just innately happens because I wasn't careful about the principles that I was creating for myself. Are you seeing a pattern here? Social distancing? No, it's physical safety distancing. I said to myself that I was going to challenge everything. Does that mean trust everything? Why would I have that question? I need to be more specific, right? And so a lot of these dialogues that we create in our brains, in our head, are becoming the strands of DNA that run our lives. The belief systems, the values that we hold on to, but we can't change, justify, or even explain. So I wanted to share that because here I am saying to myself, challenge everything. And I couldn't even stay in a book to understand it for more than a week. I had to do it for 3 weeks, read it 3 times over before I actually got it. And it's only like 150 pages, you guys. This is like a 3-hour read for me. For you fast readers, I just told you how slow I am. Okay. And because of that, it's amazing. It's just absolutely amazing that what we do, what we've been trained, what we've been done to our brains that assume that what we're not actually thinking and believe it, and it becomes value. It becomes a system. It becomes a process to the way we function. Now, with all of that, I just wanted to say that it's better to trust and it's better to do all these things. Now, as I challenge everything, I decided to take on the biggest challenge. And today I started this book. Now, the reason why it's the biggest challenge, it's by my good friend, okay, I should be careful when I say that. A friend of the Amplified Minds Network, right? We love Brendon Burchard. We love his principles. So I shouldn't say he's my friend. I've actually never met the guy. But I want to say that he's a friend of the Amplified Minds community because we have talked about his books so much in our business, in our masterminds, and so forth. So a friend of the Amplified Minds community and conglomerate, his teachings and his philosophies have really given us perspective. So the reason why this is a big endeavor is look how thick this is. This is a book signed by Brendon Burchard. No, I'm just kidding. This book is over 400 pages long. So High Performance Habits, Brendon Burchard, just started it today. And anyone who wants to read along or follow along with me, I think that'd be awesome. We're going to be starting a book club here soon. My good friend Taylor Douglas is organizing that, and we're going to be following her lead. And we're super excited to support her with that. Whatever we choose to do, I'm super pumped and excited. So, and Faust, appreciate the shout out, bud. I love that book. I am learning to love that book. It's been on my desk for a year now, and I haven't even touched it. though I have my own Cliff Notes version of it that we actually dove into. My assignment was to go through the book Mindset by Carol S. Dweck, and we compiled it into an ebook, which I gave away last Friday. So shout out to those who were on the call last Friday and got the ebook, or sorry, last Thursday. But I know the gist of it, and I'm excited to dive into it. Faust says that I've gone through that book several times. I just took the high performance indicator assessment yesterday. Oh, that's interesting. I didn't know there was such a thing. I'm now interested. You've now just given me a brighter light as I walk into this cave of darkness, because it is a long book and my attention span is shorter than what? ADHD. And I am really looking forward to it. So now that you just said that, I am super pumped and I'm really excited. So thank you for sharing that. As I go along, I'm probably going to text you, Faust. I'm going to be like, dude, this is gold. I'll be texting you and sharing you with some of the insights that I'm getting. So I appreciate you sharing that. And thank you for just getting my mind open and my hopes up, because I'm really excited. There's a lot of books on this desk that I need to reread and actually pick up and brush off the desk and actually read, especially the ones from friends. Hiding behind that Think and Grow Rich are 2 books from my good friend and partner. And so I need to read those too. So there you go. I appreciate you saying that, Faust. But as we dive into high performance habits, I'm looking forward to the learning opportunities that I can gain from understanding what is important and what is going to help other people achieve their goals and myself achieve my goals. By the way, this is interesting. Out of all the books I've read and all the business that we've been involved with, I was an accountability partner for 4 years. And because of that, I have helped thousands of professionals achieve their goals. And I give a speech called The Irrefutable Laws of High Performance and Accountability. It's one of my famous speeches. But I've never read High Performance Habits. So this is fascinating to me, because in my speech, I say the irrefutable laws of high performance, and I haven't even read High Performance Habits. So I'm looking forward to learning and to readjusting and to challenging my own mindset on goal setting, on achievement, on flexibility, on actual accountability. So this is going to be a good read for me. I'm pumped and I'm excited. Faust says, do it. I'd love to chat about it. Cool. I'm looking forward to that. That's called accountability enrollment right there, everybody. So I absolutely love that. By the way, a few things giving away. If you still want a copy of that book, Mindset of a Successful Seller, we're giving that away, a free download. All you have to do is go to www.amplifiedminds.com/mindset. I'm pretty sure that's it. Let me just cross check that. Yep, that's the one. Nailed it. I love it when I do it on the first try. So I just put that in the comments section. Boom. By the way, did I mention that I have a YouTube channel? So not only do I stream this every day to Facebook, but it's also streaming to YouTube. But I've got 100+ videos on my YouTube channel where we're talking about everything from mastermind groups to networking, to building relationships and so forth. I do a lot of embarrassing stuff on there, so it's actually quite entertaining. We talk about the different things. One of my favorite things to do recently is to order stuff off Amazon or order stuff off of advertisements that I get scammed on. And then I like doing a product review. That's always helpful. I always share helpful tips on what I'm learning so that you can build a business just like me. One of the things I help people do is I help them recognize and how to put subtitles in all of their videos on social media. I help people build their podcasts. And by the way, this week, that's another thing I'll be announcing here in a minute. I'll be giving away a 30-minute, kind of like a free webinar to teach you how to build your own podcast and monetize it so you get paid. We have a podcast called The Circle of Knowledge, season 4 starting, woot, woot. And we get paid monthly from that podcast just by listeners. And it's streamed to all of the podcast channels, including iTunes, Apple Play, or Apple podcasts, Spotify, Google Play, all that stuff. So if you want just to learn how to build, start, and run a podcast in 30 minutes that will actually pay you, we'll be giving away a free webinar that takes 30 minutes this week. So if you have any interest in learning about that, I'm enrolling just a few more people before we do it. Now, we will go through it very, very quickly, but the steps are so simple. And I think it's good to get a podcast out there. It's just a great leverageable tool, and it's extra income the more content you produce. So there you go, an opportunity for you to grow and build your network and to also grow. But I have a YouTube channel where all the videos and all the audios that I ever record go to, and also my TikToks, also my Instagrams, also my IGTVs, also the things that I put on LinkedIn. It's a great place to go and to just get a bunch of facts and information and applicable alternatives to growing and starting your business, as well as the vulnerabilities that I share. One of my favorite things too is to get my wife in on it. And I've been trying to get her and I to cook, like do like John and Jill's kitchen or the Kovacs clan kitchen, because we do cook really good meals. And we do it so well that that it's fun, because I'm the kind of person who doesn't follow recipes, and my wife follows recipes to a T. And so it makes it for a very entertaining process when we cook. So sometimes we have those on there, but all in all, I share a lot of my motivational speeches and empowerment, but we do have a segment on there called the Motivational Minute. So if you have a minute, go to my YouTube channel. It's just type in John Kovacs Jr. That's what the profile there is saying. But anyways, if you want a free copy of the book Mindset ebook that we wrote to help you achieve your ultimate mindset of being a good salesperson and to build a mindset of growth and prosperity, there you go. Go click on that. So if you are interested in the podcast, we're going to be doing that this week. Just send me a direct message, an instant message that says podcast. Okay. Just say podcast, and I will get you signed up for our free webinar where in 30 minutes, I will teach you how to start a podcast, build it, grow it, and make money within the next month or so. Okay. So that's a promise I've made to a lot of people. So I'm really excited to do that. Now, two other pieces to that. If you just want it done for you, still attend the webinar and I will build your podcast for you. We can talk about that later. And then the other thing is today marks the inaugural launch of, and I've used that word a lot. So some of you are like, Champion Circle? Champion Circle? Is Champion Circle starting? Not just yet. I'm waiting a few more days to confirm what we can do socially and physically combined before we do an in-person event. So with that said, I want to share with you that today was the inaugural launch for Content Caddy, our virtual assistant business based in the Philippines, where we will be helping Filipinos literally get off the streets and stop breaking their backs, working hard labor, and providing incredible services to you. Now, if that didn't get you, then let me tell you what will. Because we take your videos and live streams, and overnight we will create them into content like ebook material, blog posts, graphics that you can post, and then so forth. So with one video, we will create enough content for you for weeks with an S, weeks. And we do it for a very, very affordable price. So if you have any interest in virtual assistants or our business Content Caddy, where we take your short videos or your live streams or any of your content, and we turn it into even longer and more sustainable content that drives more people to your fan pages and gets you paid based on relationships, let me know. Send me a direct message and say virtual assistants or Content Caddy. There we go. There's some information for you today and a couple offers. I know today's call, because I was late, was only 45 minutes long, but I want to give you guys a mindset boost for the week, And I want to finish with one important fact. As I pull out my favorite little ball here and I toss it back and forth, I want to wish you guys a happy May 4th. And May the 4th be with you. Thank you, everybody. Appreciate you all. Thank you so much. I look forward to calling, collaborating, connecting with every single one of you. My mindset have changed. And let me just shout out what my actionable items are going to be. You're probably going to get a message from me because I have an overextending commitment to building my relationships better. And in so doing, you might see a messenger text, a text message, or something from me here very, very soon. So love you all. Appreciate you. And also huge shout out to Faust Bellarmino. If you're watching this or you want to catch the replay of this, you guys connect with Faust. He is an incredible professional and he's super healthy and he's got his own little vlog and I'll call it series of videos of him and his family's journey. And it is absolutely amazing. I love watching you, man. And I love being associated with you. And I appreciate you so much. So ingat kapatid. Goodbye to everybody and take care.